Yes? Do you need something of me? You want to see my equipment? Very well.
Greetings, Bosmer. Pleased to meet you. I'm Estelle Renoir, and I deal in all sorts of rare books and the like. What can I do for you today? Kashan, the traveling book dealer? Well, he was here earlier, but he left to visit with relatives living not too far outside Coral. I would suggest staying at the local inn for a night or two until he returns. He shouldn't be too long. Be seeing you.
Welcome to the Oak Enclosure. This one is Talisma, your hostess. Our rooms and food are at your disposal. There's one available for the night. If you're interested, it'll be 10 gold. What do you say? The room is upstairs, first door to the left. Sleep well. Can I interest you in some of my wares? A good... That's a good... That seems a fair price. Tell your friends about me. Goodbye.
It is said that one loses many things when one goes to war. A single warrior in question will forfeit his friends and family, the safety and sanctuary of his home, and maybe even his very life. Yet a general, in command of a great many warriors, will soon lose his innocence, and even his sanity, as the guilt of his actions threatens to overcome him. But be that as it may, it is often wondered whether Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, ever harbored any of those traits to lose.
It is time, my love. I have to go.
Don't go, Cleon. You know what will happen if you leave with them.
I have no choice. It is my duty and my responsibility. I will lead them this one last time. After that, it is done.
Yes, you will lead them to victory. I do not doubt that. But I do not believe that you'll be able to retire after this final siege. The desire for bloodshed courses through your very being like a wildfire. You will never be able to lay down your sword.
I have told you that I will throw in my blade and return to you, and so I shall. After Armindale falls, you and I will be together forevermore.
So you say, and so I hope, but I do not believe it to be true.
General, the regiment is formed up and is only awaiting your instructions.
I must go now. Rest assured, my love, I will return to you.
I don't think we've met. Are you new in town? Oh, well, I'm sorry for bothering you. My mother often says I'm too forward with strangers. You too.
Is it necessary that you speak with me? I have heard tell that you have been seeking me. My name is Kashan, and I deal exclusively in rare and specialist books. What can I do for you? And what book would that be? Oh, yes. Now I recall The Butcher of Armindale. Yes, you are correct. I did indeed sell that book to Phineas. What of it? Yes, it would seem that there are. I sold it to Phineas in that state, under the agreement that he would not pursue the missing pages. I had thought that he would keep it for his collection, but it would seem that he was as eager to be rid of it as I was. I presume that you are seeking the missing pages from the book, but I am afraid that I can tell you nothing of that. 100 gold? Very well then, I will tell you everything. When I acquired the book from a renegade who found it in a certain dungeon, there were already pages missing. Yet the book captivated me. I read through it within hours and began searching desperately for the missing pages. Yet I found that the book was cursed. When I slept, the words on the pages sprang to life, and I found myself reliving the experiences of Cleon. The blood, the terror, the evil I witnessed, it has frightened me in a way that I have never been frightened before. I became scared of the book. I became desperate to sell it, and so I found Phineas, who purchased it from me without a moment's hesitation. Yet I found that I could not sell him the entire book for fear of what its words may do to him. Hence, I mutilated it and tore out several pages. I have kept the pages with me at all times since then. I am terrified of their words, but I find myself unable to throw them away. If that is what you wish, then it shall be done. But I warn you, you will not like where this story takes you. You will become enraptured by it and terrified by it. You will come to dread the dreams it invokes, yet you will find yourself unable to look away. It will be your undoing, but better it be your undoing than mine. Here are the pages. You will want to know where to find the bandit that sold me the book, yes? Well, last I heard he was in Bruma handling some business transactions there. His name is Shan, and I would guess you can find him in the tavern. Now begone, and do not speak to me again. How goes it?
Good to see you. What have you been up to?
Welcome to Bruma, stranger. Hafid Hollowleg. I'm your host at Gerald View. Bed, food, whatever you need. There's a most comfortable bed just downstairs. A wonderful room and nicely priced at 25 gold a night, if you're interested. Excellent. It's just downstairs there. The door is impossible to miss. I'm sure you'll sleep very well. Have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you. Thanks for your business. Just leave.
Whatever else one can say about Cleon, his powers as a tactician and a leader of men were unparalleled, and even the might of the city of Armindale soon fell to the hordes of soldiers beneath his command. Clouds of arrows fell from the sky, and the once pristine cobblestone streets ran thick with the blood of the innocent. The final battle that would forever claim Cleon's soul had begun, and with it so too had the untold suffering that was to follow.
The screams are getting closer. They'll be here soon. Soon we too shall be dead, like the rest of the populace of Armindale, cut apart by a madman held bent on a massacre. Why are you doing this? The city has fallen. You have won. Why do you need to slaughter everyone?
I have learned from experience the foolishness of leaving one's enemies to live in a brief fit of compassion. And all those who are not on my side are my enemies. Need I say more?
The soldiers, perhaps, and I can see the need to end my own life. But the women and the children, you fiend, you butcher.
Stop touching me!
That sounds interesting.
Hello
I am become death, destroyer of worlds!
Are you not feeling well? You wear the shadows well, fellow thief. You can pay your fines to the guards, serve your time, or pay me half, and I'll fix them all. Consider it done. I will get rid of all your criminal warrants. Shadow hide you.
Hi.
For most heroes and villains, the passing into the afterlife occurs with a great deal of fanfare, sometimes cheering, sometimes mourning, but always there are those who will attempt to honor the dead in one form or another. Yet when Cleon the Butcher finally fell at the hands of an unknown assassin, no tears were shed, for no one, save for a select few, ever knew what had happened. The rest of Tamriel simply assumed that the tormented man had vanished into the wilderness, haunted by the specters of the dead and forever stained with the blood of the innocent. Yet the truth of what happened to the Butcher of Armindale and to his battered body is far more dire indeed.
It is done. Cleon the Butcher has been properly entombed and will never be discovered down here. It seems strange that so great a man should vanish from history in such a way. Yes, he was a malevolent fiend, but he was still a great man. Surely he deserves more than this. Can you imagine the nightmare Tamriel would face if a necromancer came along and accidentally resurrected him? No, my friend. Cleon will eternally rest in peace here. His slumber in the next life will not be disturbed. And Tamriel will not have to endure his bloodthirsty nature ever again. Perhaps you are right. Come, let us depart from this place, and when we are certain that the tomb is properly sealed, we will end this once and for all, leaving only the blacksmith to know of the entrance to this place, and even he knows not what it is that he guards.
Is everything all right? You look a bit ill.
Is everything all right?
Put on the feed bag. I'm Dilos Fandas. We got food and drink, and lots of it. Let's do business. thank you for your business. Just leave.
Welcome to A Fighting Chance. Have a look around. You won't find better prices in all Tamriel. You drive a hard... Thank you for your business. Farewell.
So, you are hoping to find some way to resurrect the Butcher of Armindale, I presume. You would not go to such lengths if that was not your intentions. Yet I wonder just how much thought you have put into this. Do you truly know what it is that you seek to awaken? You will recall that he lived and died during the early days of my time in Tamriel. You may also recall that the two of us had a hand at shaping him into the monster that we all know and love. I'm not sure that resurrecting Cleon the Butcher is a good way to redeem yourself for your pre-incarnation's crimes. And I sincerely doubt that he will be pleased to see you, should he ever learn who you really are. He was a fiend, before we made him into a more terrible fiend. There is no denying that you and I corrupted him, yet we only helped bring forth the shadows that lurked in his soul. We did not create them. He was tainted by his past and his insignificant origins, cursed by an unerringly unfulfilled desire to aspire to something. So desperate was he to escape his origins that he was willing to sell his soul to to you. Or at the very least, your pre-incarnation. There are some things that he did during his life that haunt me to this day. I remember one incident in particular, involving a nobleman who owned a small estate somewhere east of Bruma. This particular nobleman owned a small, yet incredibly well-trained force of mercenaries who were tasked with guarding the estate. When warned by the Lord of Bruma of the threat that Cleon posed to the region, this nobleman scoffed the warning. So certain was he of his guard's superiority and Cleon's ineptness as a general that he outwardly mocked the Butcher. He sent a letter challenging Cleon to attack his estate and referring to him as an uneducated farmhand, amongst other things. Naturally, Cleon was infuriated by the letter and promptly sacked and destroyed the estate. capturing the nobleman before he could escape. I remember the butcher binding the nobleman to a pike and forcing him to watch as the nobleman's family, a wife and 2 daughters, were slaughtered. I remember Cleon holding the nobleman's eyelids open as he drank the blood that spewed from the wound in the side of his wife's neck. And I remember Cleon turning over the nobleman to a goblin clan from the surrounding area, with strict instructions that the nobleman be used to satiate their perverse pleasures. And I remember you laughing as the entire event took place. Perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps Cleon the Butcher is a good match for you after all. Or perhaps we will talk about this again later. I don't wish to speak of it anymore.
So you are here at last. I was wondering how long it would take for you to arrive here. And yet, it would seem that you are not here. Well, not entirely yet. Your spirit has not become trapped in the abyss of the faithless. Which means you can only be here for one reason: the Butcher of Armindale. Who am I? I'm surprised that you do not recognize me. After all, we both occupy the same physical shell. Yet, whereas you harbor the corporeal form, I am forever damned to remain in this nightmare. My husk to satisfy the vessel for your essence. My damnation to satisfy your desire to live forevermore. It hardly seems fair to me. This is the abyss of the faithless, a domain that I occupy because I was never given any opportunity to find my fate. Though I'm sure that you don't need me to explain that. Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, on the other hand, occupies this place because of his hubris. His belief that he was superior to the gods in his mortal life. It is a punishment that he rightly deserves for his numerous crimes. Look all around you. You will see others, though most choose not to frequent this particular part of the abyss due to how dangerous it is. Me, however, I am here because I was waiting for you. I have been waiting for you for untold years. And now I find you, only to learn that you are not yet here. You are merely a traveler passing through what has become my home. He is deeper in the abyss, probably fighting for his very unlife. He chooses the demon as his companion and shuns all of us. Thus, his fate is his own. None of us will lift a finger to aid that monster if ever he should need it. If you are seeking him, then you had best hurry. It is not safe to remain in this place for too long a time, especially if you are not yet dead. I'd wish you safe travels, yet I have no reason to wish such a thing upon you. No, rather I hope that your luck runs short, else you and I may never speak again. And have no doubt about it, we have a great deal to speak about.
It is often said that a warrior is made up of two beings. One, the usually placid creature that lives the majority of the time and is timid, sociable, and comradic. The other, the beast that reigns within and is only ever set free of its cage in the heat of battle. Yet in the void of the faithless, where Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, fought for the survival of his soul, the malevolent demon inside was made flesh, as the two of them fought back to back against the hordes of undead that advanced upon them.
Bloodlust is fading as the battle draws to a close. Who are you? And what are you doing in this godforsaken place? This battleground is no place for one such as you. I died. Yes. Now I remember. The assassins fell upon me as I walked down a back alley on my way from the tavern, back to the regiment. I remember their blades rising and falling with reckless abandon as they sought to tear me limb from limb. I remember drawing my blade and attempting to defend myself, but there were too many of them, and I was growing weak from loss of blood. If I am dead, then I presume that they have succeeded. Yet, if I am dead, what are you doing here? And what is this beast that claims to be me. A metaphor for the evil malevolence that has laid claim to my soul since the massacre at Armindale. That explains a great deal and justifies why I feel so comforted in the beast's presence. The two of us have fought as allies for centuries here. Yet, if I am to return, I will need to merge with the beast once again. Without it, I am but a shadow of my former self. You bring with you a map of the path back to life? I see that you harbor powerful necromancies indeed. Perhaps with your help, I can live again. Very well. Allow me a brief moment to commune with the beast, and we shall use that map of yours to make our way back from the afterlife. It is done. And with the beast being a part of me once again, I know that it is time for me to return to the real world. Lead on, my friend. I shall follow you. Yes, at last, I live and breathe again. To think that despite all I have done to damn myself, I have cheated death, where so many others have failed. Yet I will admit that I could not have done it if it weren't for you. Ultimately, you have saved my soul, and for that, I will be forever in your debt. I have been trapped in the void of the faithless for a long time. Tell me, how long has it been since last I walked Tamriel? 200 years. 200 years. I can only imagine how much the lands must have changed since I died. I have a proposition that might serve to benefit both of us in the long run. What would you say to an alliance between you and I? We work together to cut down our enemies and make our fortunes in this new land. You know my history. You know of my unequaled skill with a blade. Our opponents shall fall like wheat before the farmer's scythe. We shall be both terrible and invincible to behold. What say you? I knew that you would accept. How could any rational creature turn aside a warrior of my ability? So be it then. We shall travel together and leave a bloody path in our wake. Now, let's get going. The sight of my own grave unnerves me for some reason. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp, and yet you delay. What do you want? Are you daft? I'm already following you, and I certainly have no desire to follow any closer.
Even though all is quiet here now, I can still sense what once lurked here for more than 2 centuries. The area is tainted and fetid, more so than the rest of the Abyss of the Faithless, at least. As Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, is gone, I can only assume that you have succeeded in your task to resurrect him. He has been given another chance at life and another opportunity to avoid his fate and escape this place. Yet, I cannot help but wonder if he deserved such a gift. Did he truly deserve a chance at redemption? There are others here who will never have such a chance. Others who were never given a chance to avoid this place initially. Does Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, after all of his crimes, truly deserve a second chance when I was never even given such a chance? The weight of Cleon's actions weighs heavily on your shoulders, doesn't it? Since it was, after all, you who steered him on his malevolent course. Your guilt is a part of what drove you to give him this option to choose his own path through life. Yet, where does your guilt reside concerning me? So quick you are to condemn me, to forget that I ever existed, even for only a brief moment. Or is it that you don't want to remember your crime? Yes, you personally may have had no control over what your pre-incarnation did, yet that does not entirely take away the responsibility. And so I wonder, do you feel guilt for your pre-incarnation's crimes and simply suppress it? Or are you like him and feel no guilt at all? Despite everything that occurred, your pre-incarnation accomplished great things, malevolent things to be certain, yet great nonetheless. You harbor the same streak of greatness in you, yet you are not him. What you accomplish will ultimately be determined by one thing: whether or not you can accept the guilt for your pre-incarnation's crimes and attempt redemption for them. Yet, time is short. The enemy draws near. My fate suddenly seems uncertain.
This is the one. Take him.
I could not help but notice that you did not rest fitfully last night. Something was bothering you. And I can see now that you have a question you wish to ask me. Speak it, and maybe I can bring about closure to what bothers you so. Why you would wish to return there is beyond me. Yet to answer your question, I would guess that you need only do whatever it was you did when you found me there. Somehow, you entered the abyss of the faithless and returned of your own volition. Replicate that action, and you will be able to return.
Hi there.
cannot even begin to fathom the incomprehensible misconduct of wasting my unaccountably valuable time. Hence, do not waste it. I'd need to perform a few distillation tests to be sure. However, I would speculate that this is a necromantic potion. It seems to be mostly comprised of fairly common alchemical ingredients, with one or two rarer components. I could, provided that I had the rare ingredients and the right incentive to make it. That amount will be sufficient to guarantee my services, for the meantime, at least. At any rate, I am fairly sure I know what type of potion this is, and I should probably point out that it is a crime to create it within the city. Since you have provided me with sufficient incentive to ignore such laws, I will create it regardless. However, you need to ensure that you do not mention it to anyone here, lest we both end up in the Imperial prison. There are two rare ingredients in this potion, yet only one of which I cannot obtain on my own. That ingredient is the decomposing flesh of an undead creature born of an innocent that is more than 200 years old. Unfortunately, undead creatures of such an age are particularly rare. Gaining the knowledge of the age of an undead creature, as well as its origins, enough to determine it was born of an innocent, is rarer still. However, this is the primary component in the potion, and as such it cannot be brewed without this component. If you want your potion, you will need to acquire that ingredient. I will remain here and prepare the other ingredients on the off chance that you manage to acquire that one. Return to me if you succeed.
What can I do for you this fine day?
Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. You want to see my equipment? So be it.
Let's hear it.
You intrude upon my presence, disrupt my work, and subsequently disturb my very thought processes once again. Did you find what you sought? Well, you have managed to prove me wrong, a feat not easily performed, by your success. In truth, I had not expected to see you again. Let us waste no more time. Give me the ingredient, and I will start the distillation process. This process will take some time to complete. Return to me after I have had time to create the potion.
Yes.
Immortality throughout history is within our grasp, and yet you delay. What do you want? Foolishness. Absolute foolishness. The manner in which you conduct your battles is ill-suited to the conditions you face. You lack tact and strategy in your encounters. You seem almost desperate to throw away your own life by charging at the hordes when discretion is the better option. And the fights that you can win without unjustified risk, you dismiss as being not worth the effort. This is hardly the way for a potential leader to act. I propose that, rather than the two of us being forced to rely on your limited strategic abilities, we instead follow my command. You are familiar with my history. You know that I was a general and a great leader of men. I was undefeated in battle. I can use my prowess as a commander to keep the two of us alive and to make our enemies suffer greatly. All that you need to do is acknowledge that prowess. I anticipate you will come to regret the decision to reject my offer, but for the meantime, I will let it lie. It is, after all, easy enough for me to simply be wary and ready to flee when one of your naive decisions leads us into a bloodbath. For now, I will continue to follow you, and instead mock your childish antics from behind. Let us depart.
Hello, guildmate.
What's new with you?
I ran into some goblins in the woods not long ago.
You return, and just in time. If I had been forced to wait too much, I may have been tempted to sell the potion to another buyer. These necromantic potions are worth quite a bit on the black market due to their illegal nature and the rarity of their components. Here is your potion. Be gone now, and let us never speak again, lest we fall under suspicion.
Yes.
What can I...
If you are planning to return to the abyss of the faithless, I will go with you. I spent a great deal of time in that place, and I know it in ways you can never understand. You have your own reasons for going there, which do not concern me in the slightest. I do not care why you wish to return, only that you do plan to return. I will see where I spent the last 2 centuries of my unlife with mortal eyes. I will see what fate awaits me when next I am slain. Drink the potion of undeath whenever it suits you. I will drink whatever remains.
seen you watching me. I've seen you trying to figure me out. I've seen you trying to determine whether or not you could take me. I see now that you know that you couldn't take me. Else you wouldn't be here talking to me. You should be wary. You should be afraid. You should be damn near soiling yourself. For you stand in the presence of Sergeant the Heretic, slayer of 100 priests, lover of 100 succubi, the epitome of pure, God-smiting malevolence. This is my reward for a life of diligent devotion to my beliefs. Are you deaf? Is there naught between your ears but dust and refuse? I've already told you why I am here. I spent every waking moment of my life performing every heretic act I could manage. All for the glory of my new religion, of which I was the head priest. I cut the throats of the foolish followers of other deities. I mated with all manner of fiends and produced the bastard children that haunt your nightmares. I made the rivers run red with blood, all for the glory of the New Order. When I died, I was blessed and sent to this paradise as a reward for my hard work. And so, I am here. Seeing just one of you is more than enough. If I were to see two, I might just find myself retching in disgust at your pathetic, meaningless existence. Yes, run away. Run into the light to hide from the darkness. I'll be watching. I'll be in your nightmares. My bastard children will follow you forevermore.
For one to survive in darkness, one must embrace the darkness and succumb to it in order to adapt. Else, one will never learn to see in the dark. Yet, as the dark can be a cloak to hide you in, so too does it hide your enemies. Thus, the dark is a fickle mistress, and one in whom you can never entirely place your trust. This world you see around you, this abyss of the faithless, is blanketed entirely in darkness. It is my hiding place, yet it also hides those who seek my final death. In knowing this, I know how to survive here. Do you? In life, one has to choose the path they take. Every choice has consequences, and each individual has to bear the weight of those consequences. However, in order for one to feel responsible for the respective consequences, one has to have the morals to feel guilty. Else, one exists in a consequence-free environment. Such was my path through life. Through much training as a youth, I managed to detach myself from conventional morals. And as such, every choice was made without consequence. With no consequences and no need to repent, what need did I have for a deity? I did not need to piously beg for forgiveness, because I had done nothing wrong. At least, in my mind, that was the case. I lived my life as I chose, and used my faithlessness to ensure that I was never bound by any sort of religious restrictions. I saw the devout followers of specific religions as being hypocrites, spending so much of their time in prayer, and for little practical reward. Why should I wait until after death to be rewarded by a god? After all, it is in life where we suffer. It is in life where one would truly need a god. And so it was that I enjoyed my life, squatting in the shadows. Yet I learned too late that whereas life is a finite thing, the afterlife is comprised solely of eternity. And now, I will have all eternity to consider the error of my faithless ways. A fitting end, really. When I first saw you, I thought at first that you were one of our number, the individual about which you ask. Yet, upon a closer inspection, I learned that you are not him. Your clothing is different, your accent is strange, and your body is weathered by the mortal realm. Whereas your look-alike spent his life in the abyss of the faithless, and so has been shaped by this place. You spent your life under Tamriel's sun, and so your skin is weathered, your accent influenced by those around you, and your clothing also. Your look-alike fled from our city when the fiends arrived. He claimed that they were looking for him, and would stop at nothing to find him. Where he fled, I do not know. Yet, the fiends have been trying to track him since their arrival. If anyone knows where he is, they will. The fiends have a small encampment on a peninsula directly below the east wall of this ruined fortress. They usually flee whenever the minions of the Abyss attack. Now that the attack has ended, they will return, and so it is there that you should look for answers. Be forewarned, though. If they are hunting him, they will also be hunting you. For though I can see the differences between you two, it is doubtful that they will. Fare thee well. But remember, retreat to the darkness to lick your wounds. Yet be wary of those already hiding there.
Misery from a stricken child. It is almost as if the turbulent storms that gather unerringly overhead are the very embodiment of hopelessness that this place represents. We are the damned, and all of us are here for a reason. The decay you see around you speaks volumes of our crimes against theology. And so I wonder, what have you done to earn your place in the abyss of the faithless? I am here because my cynicism in life and my view as a realist jaded me to the purpose of following a patron deity. I could not see the purpose in wasting my life in servitude to a god, when that god would not repay my worship when I needed it most. Good people, pious people, suffered the most terrible, agony-filled of fates at my hands and the hands of my comrades. Yet the most malevolent of individuals were blessed with peaceful deaths and departed Tamriel without paying penance for their crimes. To me, the gods were merely players in some divine game, and we mortals were merely pawns and the means to an end. Why worship a non-interventionist deity? That was my belief in life, and because I never found redemption, that became the foundation of my belief. When I died at the hands of those who had previously been my comrades, camped out in front of the ruins of a fallen city north of the Imperial City, I was sent to the void of the faithless rather than to the realm of a chosen deity. Thus, my crime, the crime of ignorance, has earned me my place here, forever cursed to spend eternity in this wasteland. And yet I wonder, could things have been different? Could the opinions of another have changed my way of thinking and saved me from this fate? I guess that ultimately I will never know. I have indeed. You look a great deal like him, yet I know that you are not him. Though it is obvious you shared the same starting point, life has dictated that the two of you followed different paths. Thus, you and he share certain similarities, but are far from identical. He has spent almost his entire life in this place, and I believe that you know the reason why he was cursed to spend eternity here. To the same extent, I believe that you know why he has been forced to flee from our small township here and go into hiding elsewhere in the abyss. He and I have spoken at great length and on a great many things. Yet he was particularly curious about the beauty Tamriel holds. He often asked me to describe details of the landscape, the weather, the cities, and the people that inhabited Tamriel, for he never saw such things. In particular, I remember that he was fond of rainbows and the arc of colors they traced in the Tamrielic skies. Many times he had me recount details of some of the more impressive rainbows I had seen during my travels. I believe that he struggled with the concepts of a rainbow, for my description was not the most specific, and yet that never stopped him asking. Find my friend, bring him back to me, so that the two of us can spend the rest of eternity imagining rainbows in the accursed sky overhead.
Like an assassin's knife into an unsuspecting heart, Selzar streaks around the abyss of the faithless, leaving no trace of her presence. With wisdom born of her mortal years, she chooses her victims carefully, studying them for days before making her move. On this particular day, she is making her way towards the Fiend's camp with her predictable cat-like grace, when something catches her eye. It is a stranger in the camp, and one that lacks the foresight to realize just how viable a target he is. With a slight smile, she approaches the stranger, carefully surveying his every move, reading his abilities as one might read a book. She passes close to him, close enough to slit his throat before continuing on her way, with the stranger none the wiser to her intentions. Content that she knows enough about the stranger to deal with him efficiently when his time comes.
Time means nothing to the damned here in the abyss of the faithless. And yet, it means everything to us. We have all the time in the world, all of eternity as a matter of fact, to reflect and regret our faithless mortal lives. And as an eternity of time stretches before us, so too does the abyss of the faithless reach out endlessly around us. Make no mistake, we are not the only ones here in the abyss. There are others, countless others, so many that you could never count them all. We are merely a group of damned souls who have banded together for mutual safety. A symbiotic relationship despite our conflicting personalities. We are but a single grain of sand on the vast, sprawling coastline that is the abyss of the faithless, forever subjected to the ebb and the flow of the tides of time. Thus, time means nothing to us, and yet it means everything. Amusing, no? Though the others here, who you may call my companions, or as near to such a concept as one can have in this place, harbor stories of greatness. Mine, on the other hand, was one of abject failure before I could ever aspire to such things. You see, I was not satisfied with the ordinary provincial life of those around me. I had no desire to repeat the same menial tasks day after day. I did not believe that I was meant to be yet another Dunmer girl in her native land. I was destined to become something more. All dark elves have an innate magical ability, and I felt that mine was more proficient than most. I had hoped to enroll in the arcane university and make my career in studying spells, mixing potions, and discovering sources of magical power. With my abilities, there was no doubt that I would soon come to be able to bend the very laws of time and space beneath the prowess of my mind. You can imagine my despair when the arcane university refused me. It drove me to blaspheme against what little religious beliefs I still held. Instead, I was accepted to the Armindale Academy of the Magus. Yet rather than using it as an opportunity to build upon my flaws, I saw it as an insult to my abilities. Being forced to study at a lesser academy, surely I deserved more than that. I blamed the gods. I cursed them for my fate. Each and every one of them. It did not matter whether they were a Dunmer god or not. I held them responsible. Armindale was destroyed by General Cleon the Butcher and his army. In the chaos and confusion that surrounded the attack, I found myself facing a number of the general's soldiers. They ordered my surrender. Had I developed control over my pride, I might have complied and lived. Yet I would not surrender to mere soldiers, not with the powers that I commanded at my fingertips. I believed I could destroy them all. As I am now here, I'm sure you can imagine what fate befell me. One face is much the same as another in this place. All are plagued by hopelessness, despair, and regret. And yet, you are not. I have not seen someone who bears the same innate sense of hope as you. Yet I have seen someone who looks like you. The individual in question was perhaps more forlorn than the rest of us, and seems to be extremely popular of late. Just prior to your arrival, several fiends entered the abyss and began asking questions about him. Upon learning this, he went into hiding, and has not been seen since. Does that help at all? Travel safe and without regret. But be cautious. Not everyone in the abyss, or even in the city of the damned for that matter, are as honest and truthful as I am.
is a relative concept, yet it does not exist in this place. Day and night mean little to us, and so time becomes an elusive concept. To measure the passing of time, we are forced to rely on the Tamrielic dates in which new arrivals die, and to use that to determine months and years. Yet, there is no purpose in developing a calendar while spending eternity in this place. Primarily due to the fact that we are trapped here for all eternity. And thus, time serves little purpose other than to remind us of how long we have been suffering. But also, because specific points in the ebb and flow of time have little meaning in the abyss of the faithless. Here, time does not follow the rules of the mortal realm. Some of us died thousands of years ago. Others died only yesterday. Some have not yet died, as far as the Tamrielic calendar is concerned, and yet they are still here. In this place, you see all that has happened, and all that is going to happen. The abyss is the nexus point of time, the center axis around which all of time rotates. The relativity of time in the abyss of the faithless always confuses new arrivals. I've given up trying to explain it to some of them. But you seem genuinely interested, and so I will elaborate. Look up there atop the southeastern watchtower, overlooking the abyssal lowlands. Do you see the Argonian ruined tale? The last date that he can remember before he died is from a date which, from my best efforts to approximate the Tamrielic years, has not yet passed. As far as Tamriel is concerned, he has not yet died. Yet, his presence here means that he is going to die in the manner that he recalls.
As this place is timeless and is not bound by the normal rules of time, the past, present, and future from Tamriel's perspective have merged as one. Thus, this place is, in truth, the only way for one to truly steal a glimpse at the future. Alas, one has to die to come here. Not really an equitable trade, in my opinion. I have been in the abyss of the faithless for so long now that I cannot remember why it is that I am in this place. By my reckoning, I have been here for in excess of 1,000 years by the Tamrielic calendar. Long enough for my memory to fade into inky blackness. I remember that I was a priest, and I remember that I renounced my vows, yet I remember little else of consequence. In this place, time is fleeting, and at the same time, it is endless. The fact that I have been here for 1,000 years means little, for I will be here for 100,000 more. You had best come to grips with that, lest the knowledge that all of eternity is stretched before you destroys your mind. I have, yet I do not know where he is now. He left our city, and I use that term loosely, about the same time as the fiends arrived. I know not how the fiends came to this place, only that they were hunting one soul in particular. From your lookalikes' frantic flight, I would be willing to guess that they are hunting him. I do not doubt that we will speak again, be it yesterday, tomorrow, or 100 years from now. We will speak again. And perhaps by then, you will know what it is to stare eternity in the face and know innately that it is your enemy. Farewell. immortality throughout history is within our grasp, and yet you delay. What do you want? I was just thinking of how amusing it is to watch the noble and valiant delude themselves as to the state of Tamriel. They fight so hard to serve the forces of good, only to ultimately end up being oppressed by powerful men, tyrants, warlords, and the like. It makes one wonder why they waste their lives serving others. I see that your thoughts lie along the same course as my own. You too can see the foolish facade that is the concept of good. If there is one thing that I am certain of in life, it is that the powerful will always take what they want, and ultimately, the good will never win. Those who serve the forces of good will constantly be bound by the chains that their morals place upon them. Those that serve themselves are not bound by such constraints, and hence will always ultimately win out. How so? Because harboring morals and honor gives you something to cling to in times of despair? I am an old soldier, a slayer of 1,000 men, and veteran of 100 battles, and I know one thing for certain. In times of despair, the only thing that you should cling to should be your comrade's shoulder when you use him to help you lift your weapon. Fighting beside your comrades has nothing to do with morals and honor, but knowing when to run away and leave them to die does. Survival is the most basic primal instinct. Well, that and the desire to mate, but we'll save that discussion for another day. If one does not place survival above morals and honor, then one does not deserve to be alive. The saying goes, the man who does not appreciate his money shall be robbed of it. Hence, the man who does not appreciate life shall be robbed of it. Use this time while we walk to think on what I have said.
shouldn't sneak up on people. Even the dead, like me, are prone to be jumpy, what with the minions of the Abyss constantly tormenting us. Oh, you do you? Well, it would seem that the facade is up, as you are obviously in a position to destroy the little life I have managed to scrounge in this place. Which leads me to wonder, what can I do for you in order to buy your silence about my double dealing? You took this from the fiends, didn't you? I guess that you are one of those that they're hunting. I will translate this for you, but be forewarned. I will have to report this turn of events to the fiends afterwards. There. It is done. Now leave me be. Survive in darkness. A broken chair, a spare tunic, and a cracked bowl or two. But I'm betting that it was not these items that you are interested in. Here, this is what you seek.
Time means nothing to the damned here in the Abyss of the Faithless. One item and one item only. Strangely enough, it was given to me by Simyaz, who claimed that he wanted me to keep it safe for him. Regardless of his request, I believe that you have a greater need for the item than Simyaz does, and I think that it is far safer in your hands. Here, take it. Travel safe and without regret, but be cautious.
As black as charcoal. I tried to recover as much of his belongings as I could so that I could return them to him when he emerges from hiding. Yet the people here are animals, and they take any opportunity to leap upon an abandoned carcass and feast until they are fat. I managed to keep the majority of his belongings, yet the others still retain some of the less important items. I believe that these are the items you are looking for. The red one is the first in the sequence. Knowing that, I imagine you should have no trouble figuring out the pattern. Find my friend, bring him back to me, so that the two of us can spend the rest of eternity imagining rainbows in the accursed sky overhead.
I've seen you watching me. I may have a few of your lookalikes' things, but I have no plans on returning them to you, which means that you have a choice. You can take them from my cold, dead fingers, or you can perform a task for me, with the reward being the item you seek. Well, I don't have all day. What is your answer? Perhaps you are more akin to my way of thinking than I thought. If you look atop that parapet wall over there, you will see a whimsical Argonian moaning about how depressing his existence in this place is. He does not appreciate the boon he has been given to have been sent to this paradise, and so I believe that he does not deserve to enjoy it. Cut his throat and leave him to bleed out. When he is dead, I will give you what you seek. This is a once-only offer. You can perform my small task, or you can fight me for your lookalikes' possessions. So, what do you say?
Step aside and let a real warrior perform this task. If anything dangerous lurks inside, I am far better equipped to deal with it than you are. What panel do you want me to push first? So far, so good. What next? One more should be enough to complete the sequence. Which panel is it going to be? That's it. Now to see if the sequence we entered was correct. Make ready. When the door opens, I will take the lead. You follow close behind me.
And so you have found me at last. I knew that you would come, and I knew that you would eventually succeed in tracking me down. I know all of this because despite the swapping of souls, we still share the same spirit. Beneath the part of you that is your pre-incarnation and the part of you that has been shaped by your life in Tamriel, there is still a part of me. You feel the guilt of your pre-incarnation's actions. You bear the weight of his crimes, and now you have come to make your penance. This is your brief chance at redemption, an opportunity to truly separate yourself from your pre-incarnation. Whether you have a malevolent soul or a benevolent one, you seek to separate yourself from that which created you. You want to be something more. From here, you would take me from the abyss of the faithless and back to Tamriel. You would give me an opportunity to experience the life I was never given. If someone as monstrous as the Butcher of Armindale can be granted a second chance, surely one such as I should be given one. But there is one critical factor that you have failed to take into account. One pivotal piece of evidence that ultimately dictates everything. In a world of fairy tales, everyone has an opportunity to find redemption. Everyone learns a valuable lesson, and everyone lives happily ever after. But this is not a fairy tale for the amusement of children. This is the real world, and it is bloody and brutal. There will be no happy endings here. You have worked incredibly hard and at great cost to yourself and your comrades to find me here. But all of it has been a wasted effort. Because you carry with you the curse of your pre-incarnation. Everything that he has touched and tainted is beyond your redemption. You cannot heal the scars he has left on this world, and the sooner you realize that, the better, for your own sake, and that of your companions. No, one such as you needs to exist beyond your pre-incarnation. You need to be something greater than him. You need to find redemption elsewhere, rectify others' wrongs, or create more of them, whichever takes your fancy. But leave the damage that he has done for someone else to fix. You cannot live out your life seeking to make amends for his actions. Your pre-incarnation is long dead, yet still he continues to torment me from beyond the grave. As as we will soon find out. Oh, but you will, and soon. You see, the fiends came to the abyss of the faithless, seeking me, because they believed that I was the soul of your pre-incarnation. They are here now. They have been watching the entrance to my lair, waiting for someone to come who could open the coded door and gain access to this place. They have followed you here, and now they have followed you inside. They have come for me, to take me to Oblivion, to punish me. You have led them here. Thus, you have indirectly been the cause of my fate. You thought to right the wrong of your pre-incarnation, but instead have made it worse. And not because of any crime that I have committed, but for the crimes of your pre-incarnation. They believe I am he, and so I shall suffer for it. Thus, your pre-incarnation continues to torment me from beyond the grave. Now, indirectly, he has taken me from this eternal hell, the abyss of the faithless, and sent me kicking and screaming into a more terrible hell, Oblivion, to be punished for crimes I never committed. No, I will not submit to my fate in the manner that life would dictate just. I will not go to it screaming in terror at the prospect of eternal torment. I will embrace my fate. I will go to it before it comes to me. I will take charge, just this once. I told you that you were special. Who else but you could have amounted to such tragedy without even realizing it? Redemption is your curse. You have not found it here.
one you had sought to free from this place is gone now. There was nothing you could have done, and nothing you can do now. The time has come for us to leave. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. Continuing our earlier discussions on the hypocrisies of the good and honorable, and I would like to point out that I use those terms loosely. Have you ever contemplated why it is that these noble creatures are more devoted to their gods than their evil counterparts? Would you care to speculate on why that is? Ah yes, worship the great deity, and in return you will be rewarded in the next life. That is what you are saying, are you not? Well then, consider this. A good god lets evil things happen to good men, and an evil god lets good things happen to evil men. In other words, whether you are a goodly being or a malevolent creature like myself, your life will be blessed and cursed by good and bad things. Now, I serve no god whatsoever. I am more of the opinion that the gods should be serving me. Yet, up until the point where I died, my life was full of riches and joy. I had uncountable quantities of gold and women who waited on me hand and foot. Yet, a paladin that I came across on my third campaign had lived in poverty his whole life, and in his first battle, I cut him limb from limb. What does this tell you about the gods? It tells you that the gods help those who help themselves. Am I right? Of course I'm right. I had thought that that was more or less a given fact by now. During my life and my many campaigns, I crushed good and evil men beneath my armored boot. Some were devout, some were not. Hence, I have come to this conclusion. If the gods exist, they treat we mortals as a cruel form of sport. Like the spectators in the arena, they watch as we tear each other apart and place vast wagers on the outcome. They are mocking those who do not make their own path through life, regardless of the consequences. I hope that you can see the point that I'm making here. Let's get moving. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. Reading through this biography on my life, the Butcher of Armindale has been a strange experience to me. Would you believe that for some reason the writer thinks that I am an evil, heartless creature? What possible justification can he have for that, do you suppose? A citizen of Armindale. A man who perhaps had a family or friends who fell to the swords of my soldiers, or to my own blade. Yes, such a person would undoubtedly blame me for what befell there, and would deduce that I must be a monster of a man. But in all reality, despite what he may believe of me, I'm hardly what one can call evil. Because I was merely doing that which I was commanded to do, and was in no position to refuse to do. Think of it this way. Is a sword evil because it kills innocent and guilty creatures alike? Of course not. Because it is merely a tool to be deployed in whichever fashion the wielder desires. One can hardly blame a sword if a murderer uses it to carve apart a helpless family. And so too, one can hardly blame me for destroying Armindale. I was merely the tool of my wielder, my own commander, who ordered me to destroy Armindale, and would have executed me if I refused. There is no difference between the sword and myself. Hence, I am not evil. You are right, of course. A sword is an inanimate object. It has no concept of morality, of right and wrong. And likewise, it is unable to refuse its wielder's instructions. I, on the other hand, had the option to refuse to lead the massacre, even though it would have cost me my life. That is the sole defining distinction between my analogy of the sword and myself. And so, by your own wording, and by my own inadvertent admission, I am in fact evil. Do not look so concerned. I have known it all along, and was merely curious to determine whether or not you would see the flaw in my logic. We'll discuss it further at a later date. Let's fall out. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. Throughout the pages of Tamriel's history, there have been many talented warlords whose armies swept destructively across the land. Yet during the time of my tenure as a general, I was the most proficient of the warlords. I was unstoppable. I was invincible. But have you ever wondered what it was that made me so masterful at warfare? Your assumption is correct, though I believe that it goes a fair bit deeper than simply being able to outthink my opponents. I think it more likely that I succeeded because I had the ability to put myself within the mind of my opponent. To think how he thought and to feel what he was feeling. I could experience his emotions, his tensions and his fears, and use that information to second-guess the strategy that he was planning. Thus, I could counter any strategy he attempted to implement and remain one step ahead of him at all times. Yet, this skill had a drawback. One who faces the demons that haunt his opponents will ultimately suffer because of them. Because when you stare into the face of evil, evil stares right back at you. Their hatred, their desires, their thirst for conquest and blood, all of it began to weigh heavily upon my soul. Where once I believed in the concepts of morals and honor, through what I saw in my opponent's minds, I began to see the futility of such beliefs. I realize now that I was not always an evil creature, yet for every fiendish tyrant I fought, I found myself becoming more and more like them. Soon, I sympathized with their dark beliefs, and by discarding my morals, I became truly unbeatable. But to do it, I had to sell my soul to the demon inside. Perhaps I do, or perhaps not. I'm not too sure. I don't exactly regret being so great a warlord. But I cannot help but wonder what I might have been had I not been blessed, or perhaps cursed, with this ability. We will discuss it later.
Hello there. Welcome to the arena. I don't think I've ever seen you around here before. I know all the regulars, believe me. If you're looking to join the arena as a combatant, you need to head down to the Bloodworks and talk to Owen, the Blade Master. If you're here to bet on a fight, on the other hand, you're talking to the right man. There are matches all day long, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's a lot of chances to fill your purse with coin. So what do you say? You want to bet on a match? Ah, excellent. I knew you were the gambling type. Well, you can bet on the yellow team or the blue team. The teams are evenly matched, so you've pretty much got a 50-50 chance of winning. So which team would you like to bet on? All right then. The yellow team it is. How much do you want to bet? All right, my friend. You've got 100 gold down on the yellow team. Good luck and enjoy the match. Oh, and if you win, come see me for your payout.
Welcome to the arena, good citizens of the You came to watch a fight, and a fight you shall have. It's the blue team versus the yellow team in a battle to the death. Lower the gates!
honor! Behold, a combatant from the blue team! If you bet on the blue team, see the gatekeeper to collect your winnings.
Ah, sorry, friend, but it would appear the opponent you bet on lost that last fight. Better luck next time.
Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. For every action that one performs, there are consequences that one will experience. Hence, for every action, there needs to be an underlying purpose. The majority of the populace of Tamriel frowned upon what I did in Armindale. They labeled me a monster, a murderer, and eventually, a butcher. But have you ever considered the purpose to my actions there? No, I am afraid that that is not the case, though I can see the justification with which you would make that your answer. To some extent, it was as you said. I wanted to prove myself by conquering the unconquerable. I wanted to return to my life with the retirement benefits of a general. I wanted to end my untarnished career with a victory of such magnitude that it would be remembered throughout the annals of history. And at the same time, I reveled in the bloodbath that followed. But ultimately, the real truth behind my actions was that I did it because I was compelled to do it. The fall of Armindale would make me a legend of my name. I would be remembered throughout eternity. My own desires, which form the core of my being, propelled me towards a collision with the great city. And like capturing an opponent's king in a game of chess, I saw it as a primary target to achieve my own goals. I would be immortalized in the pages of history. No, it wasn't. Rather than a glorious death atop the walls of an opponent's fortress, I was slain by several masked assassins in an alley. My body was buried in secret, my name scourged from the history books, and in the end I sold my soul for nothing because no one remembered me. Even now, I still seek some way for my legacy to live on. You would want me to train you in the art of warfare? To teach you how best to work your way into the mind of an opponent, and how to drive your minions into the battle? To what end? You would know my terrible secret, yet that will hardly make my legacy live on throughout eternity. And let's face it, you are hardly the sort of creature I would want associated with my strategies. Why should I train you? The challenge of training one such as yourself, of taking an ordinary civilian with next to no military prowess and making them into a general. I have trained thousands of soldiers and turned them from cowardly children into hardy warriors. Yet, I must admit that you have proven yourself to me thus far. And it would be an interesting challenge to see if you can grasp what no one else has been able to. So be it then. I will teach you to look into the mind of your opponents when next we have leisure. For now, though, let us continue on our way. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. All right then. By my reckoning, it is about time that you and I began to discuss the concept of warfare and strategy. We will start small, and eventually work our way towards training you up to being a general. I'm going to assume that you have some basic concept of fighting in small groups, since you have fought with me at your side numerous times. So, we'll simply take the next step up the ladder and continue on from there. Are you ready? We will begin by looking at squad or section combat. A group of about 4 or more soldiers, and usually deployed with archers of engineers. In a large-scale combat, the strategy focuses mostly on using your numbers to outmaneuver an enemy. Yet, in section combat, you will need to utilize strategy in order to use each and every soldier to his maximum effectiveness. The first to be deployed are your archers, who will ultimately control the direction and speed of the enemy advance. Gaining the high ground is always the first objective, as it will allow your archers to effectively target any enemy within the opposing formation. And if possible, you should try and deploy your archers a reasonable distance apart, preferably at a fairly similar level. This is done to give the archers shooting arcs that cross, allowing you to hit the enemy formation from the front and from both sides. Obviously, when an enemy is under that much of an arrow storm, they will hardly be able to go on the defensive, and hence will have to attack. Are you keeping up so far? Good to hear. I always appreciate a student who can keep up. Next, you will deploy your warriors. In a house-to-house encounter, like that you would find in a city, groups of 2 or 3 are best. But most of the time, you should try and keep your warriors together in a rough formation. This is done to boost morale. Every soldier fights better, knowing he's not alone, and also to avoid having the enemy formation overrun you. Bear in mind, however, that once the fighting itself begins, this formation will dissolve as new strategies come into play. Which brings us to the combat strategy itself, in which you will need to decide the maneuver that will allow you to gain the advantage. Unfortunately, there is no single strategy that I can give you that will win the day, regardless of the circumstance. This is because the strategy will depend entirely upon the environment in which it is carried out. Thus, you will need to be tactful in your decisions. Personally, though, I like to try and keep my warriors together as long as possible. That way they can work in conjunction with each other. You know, the right soldier's shield covering the left soldier, whose shield in turn covers the soldier to his left. It works wonders against a weaker opponent, but can be dangerous against a stronger one. Does all of this make sense to you? Excellent. Now, permit me to give you this one last piece of advice before I retire my weary vocal cords for the day. When it comes down to it, an opposing general's greatest weakness is failure to adapt to change, to invent new tactics, to counter new opponents. Many generals are terrified of taking a chance and changing from a seemingly flawless routine, and at times that can become the general's weakness. Remember that, if ever you find yourself facing a general that you know. At any rate, I grow weary of idle chatter. We will talk again at a later date. Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. There is something that I have been meaning to confess to you for some time now. I want to explain an analogy that I referenced earlier. No doubt by now, you have heard me talk of the demon inside. the malevolent beast that only emerges when I am drawn into battle. You also had the unfortunate experience to meet the creature in the abyss of the faithless, when you saved me from the hordes of undead. Yet, do you have any true idea of what exactly the demon inside stands for? To some extent, yes. But I prefer to think of it as a representation for all of my primitive emotions. The animalistic instincts that bequeath morals. An animal does not harbor morals and concepts of benevolence. An animal fights mindlessly to survive, and for its own advancement, nothing more. Though, by definition, many of the emotions associated with the demon inside are beyond that which an animal is capable of experiencing. I still think of them as being too primitive to attribute in any way to a truly sentient creature. Hence, the demon inside is the mindless beast. At the beast's core, anger, hatred, revenge, desire, all of which spring forth the moment the blood starts to fall. To most people, they are emotions that come and go, and can generally be controlled through concentration and integrity. But to me, well, many people have a beast of some sort riding their back. A beast that springs forth from time to time to reap all kinds of chaos. In my case, however, I am the sole remaining threads of an Imperial that rides the beast's back, leaping forth occasionally to reap acts of humanity. I am its slave. I go where it leads, and I can only drive it to a small extent. For the most part, it controls my every action. Thus, I become the beast. No, I am the demon that lurks inside. I become Cleon the Butcher from time to time. Brief moments of sanity amidst a haze of bloodlust and fury. The sane moments have become progressively fewer and fewer, and no longer do I have any control whatsoever when the fighting begins. Slowly but surely, the beast is consuming me, pushing me aside as its malevolence becomes the core of my very being. It is just a matter of time before, well, perhaps you might want to keep an eye over your shoulder whenever the fighting starts. Just remember this, my friend. Should I finally lose my battle with the demon inside, cut me down where I stand before I can do the same to you. That is all that I wanted to say for now. We will talk soon enough. I am sure of it.
What? May I interest you in some of my fine wares? Tell your friends about me. I'm done talking to you.
Immortality throughout history is within our grasp. I have a request of you, if you are of a mind to grant me a favor. I would like for the two of us to return to my grave beneath the castle anvil. I would like to have some words with you there. And only there will suffice. No, I will answer no questions now. Only when we are standing in my tomb will I speak to you of my intentions.
I have everything for the budding alchemist under one roof. May I interest you in some of my fine wares? Make me a better offer. Pleasure doing business with you. That's a good deal. A bargain at any price. I let that go too cheaply. Another satisfied customer. Goodbye.
Yes? Do you need something of me? You want to see my equipment? Very well.
Ask you a question, and only you, of all the creatures in Tamriel, can provide me with a satisfactory answer. We have been together for quite some time now, and despite everything, I have found that your conversation is valuable at times. This is one of those times. I have learned much about you and your achievements, and about your path through life thus far. You have done so much, become so much more than what you started out as. You have become famous, a hero, or perhaps a villain to the people. You have achieved everything that you set out to achieve. And then you have gone beyond that and exceeded your own expectations. You have become truly great, and in doing so, you have immortalized yourself in the pages of history. Scholars have written histories about you. Poets have written ballads about you. and playwrights have written scripts featuring you. You have become a god, because even after you die off in life, you will live eternally in the hearts and minds of those you have affected. And throughout the pages of history, and most amazing of all, you have done all of this without selling your soul to the demon inside. You have done the one thing that I never could, and you have done it all without sacrificing your very soul. I want to know how you did this. That is what you did? That is all that you did? I cannot understand. I simply cannot understand. I did that. I did exactly that. I was ambitious and full of desire. I followed what my heart told me, and I stuck by my beliefs throughout everything. I did everything. And yet, I failed. Even after selling my soul to the demon inside, I find that I have still failed and was murdered by a nobody in a back alley. It doesn't make sense. I simply cannot fathom any of it. One such as me should surely be the one to succeed. And yet, I did not. And you have. What can possibly make you greater than me? More infamous, more heroic. Everything that you have done, I have done, and more. It simply doesn't. Well, it is time to demonstrate the one thing that I am superior to you at. A trial of arms should settle this dispute, once and for all. Yet, I know of your prowess. You have demonstrated an apt skill at combat, and I will admit that I am somewhat impressed. But the time for children's games is over, and the time for suffering the consequences of our actions is at hand. Now, permit me to show you the consequences of my actions and the curse of my decisions. Permit me to show you the beast that lurks inside. You cannot even begin to imagine what it is that I have become. I have heard tell that every individual is supposedly good at something. When I was a young man, I was terrible at everything I attempted. I was a disappointment to my parents, and I had few friends. Like many young men in my situation, I chose to become a professional soldier. It was in the army where I discovered my true talent for warfare. Not merely in swordplay and combat, but also in strategy and tactics. I was immediately recognized for my abilities and soon promoted to second lieutenant. I studied hard and trained hard, and I soon became unbeatable. Yet, as I became accustomed to my new abilities, I began to lose my grip on my innocence. I began to walk the dark path towards malevolence. What you see before you now represents the last remaining shreds of my childish innocence. Before Armindale. Before I sold my soul. Imagine what I could have become if only a few aspects of my life had been different. If I had been a good farmer, or an architect, or a blacksmith. I could have been something that was unimportant in the grand scheme of things. But instead, I chose to become someone who would be remembered. But look what it has cost me. Even now, I know what is coming. I know what I will become. These hands are clean now, but soon they will be stained. I sold my soul to the demon inside. I threw away everything that I held dear, and by doing that, I destroyed myself. I damned myself. Oh gods, I don't want to die. Why do I have to die? Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the darkness that resides within my soul. Tell me, have you managed to determine where it is that we are now? Are the screams, the sounds of battle, the damp splat of blood spilling familiar to you? Surely, you must know where we are. We are in Armindale, where the demon inside finally consumed me, and I tainted my soul beyond recovery. We are at the place of my death. Not my physical death, of course. That occurred in a back alley, somewhere in the Imperial City. No, this is the place where Cleon died. Cleon, son of Ildera and Jamil, heir to a farmstead and a herd of cows. Cleon, who understood the concept of morals and honor. Cleon died here. For every scream that echoes down the cobblestone streets, another part of me died. Even now, I feel myself growing weaker. What stands before you now is the last shred of that Cleon, mere moments before he vanished from Tamriel, and was replaced by a beast in human shell. I know that I am going to die, and I am terrified at the thought of it. But it is unavoidable now, and I have resigned myself to it. Please, stay with me at the end. I don't want to die alone. Please, please, Mother, Father, don't leave me alone. Another sentient creature, full of the foolish concepts of morals and honor, approaches me. Another creature that does not realize that the only constant to life is death, who has not resigned itself to the fact that it is going to die. Which is the reason why you are useless to me. You have dealt with death, but you do not truly understand it. To you, the massacre at Armindale was merely an event with a statistical casualty figure. To me, it was a defining moment. A revelation, if you will. I represent the beast that Cleon would have become if the assassins hadn't robbed him of life. I represent the monster in Imperial clothing. I am the demon that resides inside Cleon. And I am mocking you at this very moment. Do you know why? Can you you possibly imagine why I find you amusing? It is because I know you, and have dismissed you as rotting offal already. Until you have held the lives of so many in your hands, you are useless. Look at me. Marvel at my beauty, my perfection, my malevolence. I am a god, because like the gods, I have the ability to give and take life as I choose. The very concept of creation in itself. And by throwing away my innocence, I attained all of that. I am immortalized within the pages of history. All of Tamriel will remember my name, will shudder with terror when they speak of me. I have molded the lands themselves. And yet, I have not. Because I do not exist. Cleon died at the hands of the assassins, in a back alley in the Imperial City. The demon inside died there. Yet, unlike Cleon, I do not cower in the face of death. I do not hide in abject terror. I face it down with my fists clenched and my teeth bared. Watch me, foolish one, and see how a god dies. Perhaps you will learn something about me by doing so. Imperial City Arena. Is it not a marvel to behold? I imagine that you have been to it. Perhaps you have even fought in it. Now, though, the fight is far more complex than a simple battle of the blades. This is a fight for Cleon's soul. Are you ready, General? Cleon is a general and a leader of men. He is impressed by creatures with spirit, drive, and ambition. You are the epitome of these traits. The general's army is yours to lead, but be forewarned, you stand to lose a great deal if you fail. Your squad consists of 4 soldiers and 2 archers, and though they outnumber the enemy is a far superior fighter. You cannot win through brute force alone. Hence, you must use everything that Cleon has taught you in order to succeed. Your 2 archers will move first. Where do you wish to deploy them? The high ground gives you the advantage of line of sight and protects your archers from the enemies on the ground. And by positioning your archers on either side, their line of attack is crossed, meaning that the enemy will experience the arrow barrage on all sides. They will be unable to defend for an extended period of time. Hence, they will be forced to march forward and engage your force in close combat. Let the battle commence. Has ensued. The positions have been made, and consequences are soon to be experienced. How will you position your warriors? By standing together, you forfeit maneuverability, but gain strength in numbers. Your force will have high morale and will stand firm. The enemy will undoubtedly attack, knowing that it will quickly be able to overwhelm the smaller force. You will have the element of surprise. Let the battle commence. Decisions have been made, and consequences are soon to be experienced. How will the battle itself progress? As the enemy charges, your soldiers will part and close on the enemy from either side, allowing your archers to attack their front. Their morale will crumble, and they will die. Let the battle commence. Against all the odds, you have won. And the demon inside has been beaten back and destroyed utterly. No longer will it be the beast that rides Cleon's back, driving him down the dark path. For the first time in a long time, Cleon will be free to make his own choices. His future is his own, to make or break as he sees fit. But this time, you will be beside him to aid in his recovery and in helping him make the right choices. No, it can't be possible. Surely I must be dreaming. Against all the odds, and despite all the darkness, you have won and have slain the demon forevermore. At last, I am free of its taint. For all these years, the beast has driven my every action since I damned myself to it in Armindale. But no more will I be subject to its taint. My actions are my own. My sword will slay only whom I choose to slay, and my future will be molded based on the actions that I perform. I owe all of this to you. You ventured into the unknown of my subconscious and freed me from my self-imposed slavery. You have demonstrated that you are indeed a true friend. You defeated the demon with the tactics that I taught you, and in doing so, won utterly. My blade is yours to command now. No longer am I the general, merely an ordinary soldier to be commanded, as his superior sees fit. You are my superior now. You have demonstrated that by your victory in my subconscious. Perhaps one day our roles might reverse, but for now, let us go forth as two comrades and shape Tamriel as we see fit. I'm following your lead, Commander. Let us take our leave of this place. I would speak to you now. The encounter with the demon inside, the entire journey into my mindscape. I remember little about the events that transpired there. I remember images and emotions, noises even, but nothing more. All else is lost in shadows and darkness. Yet, there is one other aspect to that ordeal that I remember profoundly, and it haunts me to this day. I remember that inside the fiendish shell of the demon inside was a very ordinary-looking mortal. And it was they who tempted me and led me astray. It was this innocent figure that ultimately destroyed me. At the time, I recognized this mortal, though it has taken until now for me to remember why it was that I recognized them. Care to venture a guess as to who this individual was? Yes, it was indeed you. Which makes me wonder why it was that you chose to keep this piece of information from me for all this time. Surely during the course of our travels you must have considered telling me precisely who you were and how you knew of me when no one else did. I think that you owe me an explanation. Tell me your story and how you came to be in the abyss with me. Thank you for the effort you have gone to on my behalf. You risked much in telling me this story, and once, not long ago, I would have slaughtered you for all that you have done to me. Yet now you have shown me a new path through this nightmare we call life, and I know that you are not like your pre-incarnation. It is for that reason that I will not hold any of this against you. It is for this reason that I wish for us to start with a clean slate. Let us begin anew and leave our respective legacies in the past, dead and buried where they belong. What say you? And so we start anew, with both of our respective fiends left on the trail, many miles behind us. From this point on, you and I are true comrades. Yet, there is another matter that I wish to discuss with you. Your friend, and I would like to point out that I use that word loosely, Alicia. I want you to tell her to return to her home in Cheydinhal, and never again return. She is a harlot, a deceiver, a demon in disguise. She is not to be trusted. You have told me that she lied to you once, and that lie changed the entire course of your discovery of your legacy, the Fiend's legacy. That lie also almost got you killed at the hands of the Hunter and his compatriots. That alone should tell you how little she thinks of you. For both of our sakes, send her away before she causes us more trouble. To the same extent that I knew your pre-incarnation, or at least the form he opted to take during our discussions, I also knew her, and not her pre-incarnation, but who she is now. For she is the same untrustworthy creature that she was before. I have no desire to speak of this anymore, but I hope that you will heed my advice before it is too late. Leave her. Let us continue this hunt together. I tell you, my friend, that woman will be the death of me, if she hasn't already. doubt that I will be able to convince you of the truth of the matter without any hard evidence, so I will not waste time attempting to explain. But let me simply say this. There is more at hand than you could possibly imagine. Unknown undercurrents and unseen eddies, all of which collaborate to dash us against the rocks and tear us apart. A web of lies and deceit and treachery that has lasted for more than 2 centuries, and sitting at the center of the web is Alicia Eothorn. She is the Black Widow who so readily devours her mate, sitting there, patiently, appetizingly, tantalizingly. Yet, to come too close means death. She will do what she believes she has to in order to survive. And no one, not even you, is beyond her range. Think on my words, my friend. Even if you do not understand them, time will tell whether or not they come to light. Yet the truth will always remain. Watch her, my friend.
He is a snake, that one. He was a fiend before we made him into one. And now all has come full circle, and we will suffer for it. Do not be fooled by his friendly facade. He has not changed in the slightest bit. He wears a mask of benevolence, but a demon lurks beneath. I question your logic in adventuring in his company, for at any instant he may well snap and choose to sell us out. What he said is not relevant. All that matters is how he said it. And before you ask the obvious question, I will answer it. He said it with malice. He has developed a persecution complex, an idea that the entire world is out to get him, despite having no reason to think such things. He accused me of a number of things that are completely unfounded, and when I denied them, he threatened me. You should rid us of his foul presence immediately before he brings about the beginning of the end for us. You and I operate in perfect harmony. We always have, even before my beloved was reincarnated to create you. Yet Cleon, the Butcher of Armindale, brings poison and discord among us. He will be our undoing. Let us leave him behind. He accused me of, he said to me, by all the fiends in the abyss, I cannot remember what it was that he said. My anger has blinded me to his exact words. Suffice to say that there was not an ounce of truth to it. His mind has fragmented beyond reconstruction, and now he sees enemies everywhere. You had best be on your guard before he sees an enemy of you, and opts to use force instead of threats to get his way. Watch him carefully.
No more. I will not stand for it anymore. Every moment that I remain in the presence of that fiendish bitch is torment. Like being forced to share a rented room with a thief who robbed you. And make no mistake, my friend, Alicia Eothorn has robbed the two of us of a prized possession, beyond that which you already know. She is keeping secrets for her own preservation. Secrets that would change the state of your relationship with her if they saw the light of day. But now is not the time for me to be revealing such truths. Not without the hard evidence to back up my words. Thus, I will get you that evidence, and all will be revealed to you, once and for all. If you wish to learn the truth about Alicia Ehethorn, and all that she has done to me, you will meet me at Two Sisters Inn in Skingrad. And you will not bring that thrice-be-damned harpy with you.
Yes? Do you need something of me? You want to see my equipment? Very well. Yes? Okay, I'll wait here. Just don't be gone too long.
You should really get to a healer.
I see that you no longer have that contemptible harpy clinging to your tail. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Already your social status has improved just by bidding farewell to her. Such an improvement can only be a good thing. All right then. You are doubtless here for answers. I will take you to them. Follow me. Just follow me and remain silent. What I have to show you cannot be described with mere words. This is it. You are privy to something that no one aside from myself has ever seen. This is the grave of my wife, Illyria. She died while I was on one of my numerous campaigns, and was dead for many weeks before I had the opportunity to return here and bury her. Yet I have always held a certain reverence for this place, despite the fact that up until recently, I had not returned here since sealing the crypt. Here lays the one person who truly cared about me, eternally at peace, and free from the torment that racked my body and mind. Here lies Illyria, wife of Cleon the Butcher of Armindale. Here is the one element of sanity amidst my insane world. I want you to enter the crypt and gaze upon the face of my wife. When you have done so, return to me. So, my friend, what did you think of my beloved? Is she not beautiful, even in death? And that, my friend, was the purpose of this entire excursion. To show to you the face of my beloved, and to use that face to remove the blindfold from your eyes. You see, my dead wife may serve a purpose, even beyond the grave, to dispel the illusion that has come to rule your existence and expose the truth. Think about it, my friend. Why would my wife's grave be empty, especially since I distinctly remember burying her? Think. Think about all the evidence that lies before you. The empty crypt here, and at the Ahethorn estate, Alicia's adopted naming trend. The similarity in names between Elysia and Illyria. The similarity in appearance between my beloved and yours. And the fact that it was my wife who subtly convinced me to continue my tutelage under the Fiend, your pre-incarnation. Think about all the evidence presented before you, and tell me I am wrong. You know who my dead wife really is.
General, the regiment is formed up and is only awaiting your instructions.
I must go now. Rest assured, my love, I will return to you. Yes. Now you remember, don't you? Now you can see the ruse for what it is. Now you know how that harpy has played the two of us. Now, at last, after all this time, the two of us are in our right minds, and the illusion that has become our existence is gone. Only reality stands before us now. You You see, my friend, there is no Illyria. There never was. My wife was merely an illusion crafted by Alicia in one of her more despicable acts. There was one point in which I had begun to rebel against the teachings of your pre-incarnation. For as my intelligence grew, so too did my perception. I could see the path he was leading me down and the manner in which he was manipulating me. So I turned against it. Alicia knew that all of your efforts would have been wasted if I refused to follow your instructions any further, so she concocted a plan of her own. A plan that I suspect your pre-incarnation was not even aware of. A plan to provide the subtlety and underhanded manipulation that you never could have. She took on the guise of the woman who would eventually become my wife, and manipulated me from within my own household. If your pre-incarnation can be thought to have corrupted me openly, Alicia Ahowthorne corrupted me subtly. I can handle the manner in which your pre-incarnation manipulated me, because I could see it in effect, and thus the responsibility was mine alone. Yet the manipulation of Alicia, there can be no forgiveness for that, as you must surely understand. The time has come for this to end. Alicia must pay for her crimes, and you will either assist me in that task or stand against me in it. I am going to the ruins of Armindale, where I sold my soul once and for all, and await the arrival of Alicia Ahowthorne. If you wish to seek a conclusion to this story, you will bring her there to face justice. If not, then I will die of starvation awaiting your arrival. After all that we have been through, at last the ending is in sight. I will be the means to the end. I will be the dispenser of justice. And Alicia Ahowthorne will, at last, be held accountable for her crimes. I will await you in the ruins of Armindale. Travel to the hidden altar where your pre-incarnation soul was bound to you, and take a different door. I will be waiting.
You found him, didn't you? I can see the accusations lurking within your eyes. You spoke to Cleon, and he relayed to you what was bothering him. Now he has given you some sort of ultimatum, and whether or not you wish to fulfill it, you would like to bring all the elements together for the end. I'm right, aren't I? I'm sure he said a lot of things about me. I'm sure he created a lot of fanciful names for me. Doubtless some of them are quite colorful. He is a warrior after all, and is prone to being crude and simplistic under pressure. Yet, despite all the inaccuracies, biased statements, gross exaggerations, and childish name-calling, I'd imagine that there was some measure of truth to this. One can seldom talk as much as he does without at least a semblance of truth at the core of his words. For inspiration, if nothing else. Cleon harbors some strong opinions of me. I will confess that not all of them are completely unfounded. No, regardless of what I say, you have already made up your mind about me, and truth will not halt events from continuing as they are. Without cause, you have been swept along by the tide of events, unable to escape the unerring flow of destiny. By Cleon's words, you are as much a victim of events as he is. Yet, whereas he still harbors some guilt, you ultimately do not. Tell me of Cleon's ultimatum. What does he want of the two of us? So, at last, the Butcher of Armindale has grown truly weary of this game. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. His patience was always lacking. So be it then. I too grow weary of our charades and double dealings. Perhaps we should heed his request and bring about the beginning of the end. Let us go to the ruins of Armindale, this one last time. Let us make our way to the altar at the epicenter of the ruins, and let us end this. I will follow your lead. I am sorry that it has come to this. If you believe nothing else, I say you must believe that. But the time has come for this confrontation, this saga of darkness within darkness, to reach its conclusion. And you are no longer a part of it. Your tale has been told. So has Cleon's. Now it is time for my own tale to come to an end. Where we stand now is the epilogue, the closing chapters. Great writers love to kill off unexpected characters at the last moment of their story. And rest assured, my dear friend, one of the characters in this saga will die. I have taken steps to ensure that it won't be you. I poisoned your last meal. You won't suffer, but you will be rendered immobile for long enough to ensure that the conclusion is written. I am truly sorry that it has come to this, my friend. I pray that you can forgive me, in this life or the next.
Alicia Ehethorn, the time has come for you to answer before all of Tamriel. For your countless crimes, I sentence you to death.
Cleon presented a way for me to repay the debt owed for my sins in the past. Your pre-incarnation and I destroyed that man's life and poisoned his very soul. We destroyed any possibility of a future for him. Like gods, we believed that we were the givers and takers of creation, as we unleashed his bestial ferocity upon Tamriel. His rabid, foam-drenched jaws ripped apart the flesh of our enemies and gave us power incarnate at the cost of countless innocent lives. Your pre-incarnation was guilty. Cleon was guilty. Yet both of them have made amends for their sins. Yet I have not. I must repay the debt and cleanse my soul. Cleon will be the instrument by which I will do this. But change does not constitute redemption. Redemption cannot be bought by change alone, only through actions. And my actions always result in me walking the same dark path that I always have. My desire for self-preservation and a tendency towards megalomania always gets the better of me. No, this way I can bring about redemption by facing up to my crimes and accepting the punishment that I am dealt. Cleon, as the primary victim of my crimes, is more than qualified to dispense that punishment. Why? Why shouldn't facing my sins earn me redemption? Surely it is the opposite to running from my sins, and running is what put me in this position in the first place. Because only one's actions dictate redemption, and if death is not a noteworthy action, then death will not bring me redemption. Then, if what you say is true, only the correct course of actions will redeem me for my countless sins. For me, there can only be one correct course of actions. I need to make right on what I did wrong. I need to confront Cleon. I will need your help to do it. You have seen the beast that rages within him firsthand. You know that it cannot be conquered by normal means. Perhaps we can find some method or some device by which to draw it forth. All creatures harbor certain weaknesses, and fiends tend to be particularly susceptible to those who know our true names. I should know. Come, let us perform this noteworthy action. and take the first step on my road to redemption.
So you have made your decision and chosen to side with her. Your fate is in your own hands now. What? What is happening?
Get away from me. I don't want whatever you've got.
It is done. The evil that corrupted my soul and led to my downfall lies dead. After all this time and all these centuries, I am my own master. The chains that bound me and the muzzle that silenced me have at last been removed. And now I am free to continue in the manner that I so choose. Your pre-incarnation has suffered for what he did to me, as has the harlot, Alicia Ahowthorne. Both of them can torment me no longer. Yet, I could not have accomplished this newfound freedom without your assistance. You have been of invaluable assistance to me, and I want you to know that I will never forget that. In truth, I owe you a debt that I cannot repay. Yet despite all of this good, there is a flaw. I am tired, my friend. So very tired. Almost 3 centuries have passed since I first walked this world as a child, and the weight of my years weighs heavily upon me. Though I was dead for almost 2 centuries, my time in the abyss of the faithless was not restful, as I fought endlessly for my right to survive there. Trust me, my friend, there are worse fates than an eternity battling in the abyss of the faithless, and I had no desire whatsoever to experience them. Thus, my weariness washes over me, leaving my muscles weak and my vision swimming. I am old, my friend. The desire for bloodshed fades, replaced by gray hair and weakened physique. I sense that perhaps my days as a warrior draw to a close. I have been thinking on it, and I'm wondering if perhaps that is my true destiny. My time in the abyss of the faithless revealed to me what lies in store when next I die, and I dread the thought of returning there. Alicia has already lived for centuries and will doubtless live for countless more, provided she doesn't rub someone the wrong way and wind up dead. To the same extent, you will probably experience an extended lifespan due to your own legacy, though I cannot say if it will be as long as Alicia's. But me, I am still immortal. I will live for no longer than 80 years in total. Thus my days are numbered. I think that perhaps it would be prudent for me to try and earn a place in the afterlife, far away from the abyss of the faithless. Perhaps my retirement years should be spent in some manner of servitude and repentance to a patron deity who suits my mind state. What say you, my friend? And why is my reasoning not sound? I recall that there were others in the abyss. When first I arrived, some of them attempted to speak to me, yet I rebuked them. The demon inside, my companion in that nightmarish place, would not allow any others to hunt with us, to fend off the hordes of undead. So, what did those you spoke to in the abyss tell you? Hubris? The crime of such excessive pride and self-belief that one thinks themselves greater than the gods? Yes, that was indeed one of my many crimes, and doubtless that is one of the reasons I wound up in the abyss. My pride was endless. I believed that I was invincible, that even the gods had no sway over what I did, or whose life I took. I learnt the hard way that such was not the case. Yet I do not see your point. Repented? How so? I see now. In this conversation alone, I have repented my belief that I was greater than the gods, due to my desire to retire in order to serve them. If I was willing to give up my life's work as a soldier in order to earn my place in the realm of the gods, then I was no longer committing the crime of hubris. You truly do harbor intelligence beyond that of mere mortals. I am glad that I opted to side with you. You and I shall continue to travel together as we did before, making friends where being friendly is necessitated, and enemies where being enemies is necessitated. We shall leave our mark, of that I do not doubt, yet only if we continue together. Some creatures are destined to operate as individuals, others as individuals operating within a team. You and I are destined to operate as symbiotes. The two of us will survive and grow only if the other is present. We will feed off one another's strengths and compensate for one another's weakness. Such is the definition of symbiosis. Such is our lot in life. Such is our place in Tamriel's history. Come, my friend. Let us leave this place of the past and continue out into the open air of Tamriel's most unfettered nights. I will meet you in the entrance to this place.
And so, after centuries, you and I have finally reached the end of our journey. A journey that began in the Abyssal Plain and continued throughout the saga of your legacy and into the tale of the Butcher of Armindale. A trek that forced each of us to face our sins, our flaws, our malevolent habits, and evolve, or be destroyed by them. Despite all we have been through and all the sins we have committed against one another, I have never felt closer to either of you. At that moment, where my aspect of the demon inside was slain, any semblance of hatred between us vanished completely. To Cleon, it represented the remnants of the beast that rode his back. To me, it represented the one part of me that I feared would never change. And now, it is gone. And both of us are free to embrace the future with no chains whatsoever, and no hidden masters to drive our inner beast. Now, we three stand at the crossroads. Numerous paths lie before us, shrouded by the shadows cast by the tangled mass of trees. Thus, the paths are unclear, but one thing is certain. There will be roads that are more traveled. They are well-worn and undoubtedly safer. Yet there are no hidden gems on that trek. There are also the roads that few care to tread, overgrown with noxious weeds, overrun with deadly predators. Yet, at the end of the journey, I knew that you would say that, and in truth, I am pleased. The road less traveled always leads the children of fate to their destiny. Those who do not shy from the pre-written pages of the God's divine plan will always face the inferno in life. Yet if they emerge unscathed, the remaining pages in Tamriel's history books are theirs alone to write. Such a future is enviable. But the decision is yours, and yours alone. You and I are a team, and have been for centuries, even if it wasn't you precisely I was with. Cleon is the newest member of our team, yet even he has journeyed with us for untold years, once as our servitor, but now as our equal. We three need to choose the path that will dictate our destiny and our riches. What path shall we take, my friend? Despite all that we have been through, I knew in my heart that the chronicles of our saga were not yet completed. The great writer has not yet lain down his quill. Though this chapter of our lives, yours, mine, and Cleon's, has reached its conclusion, the road less traveled will open new chapters. Our destiny, our riches, and perhaps our death, lie at the end of this road. Thus it is only right that we begin our trek along it as soon as possible. Though your pre-incarnation and I have lived entire lives together, I feel that you and I still have countless tales to share. In time, and with this gentler, safer road that lies ahead of us, I do not doubt that you and I will have the opportunity to share them. Let us leave, my friend, and begin those tales as soon as possible. I will meet you outside of this place.
to follow me like a bad smell. Yet, you are one who would readily face evil in order to conquer it. I am surprised that one such as yourself would talk to me. You know that you are the first person who has spoken to me since I arrived at the Imperial City. I suppose that most people are bothered by my aura of death. I have a proposition for you, stranger, if you would care to hear it. For reasons of my own, I desire to travel Tamriel, yet I lack the courage and abilities to do so on my own.